Arsenal reportedly have some interest in Antony and have inquired about him. I know, I'm not so sure about this one, but we'll dive into that story. Now, very, very highly regarded Chelsea Academy chief who worked there from 2005 to 2024 could be on his way to Manchester United. Big news on that, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about this guy and why this could be a very big move for Manchester United. Talks have been held with Manchester United and Jonathan Tard's representatives. Manchester United want to sign the player on a 3. It could be one to watch. I think Bayern are the favourites. Onana is liked by Ruben Amorim, and United are not desperate to sell Onana. Our starting 11 versus Brentford prediction, because we've got some squad news on Obi, Fredrickson, Amas in the squad. Could Obi be starting? We'll preview the Brentford game. So I want to get through all this news and then preview the Brentford game in the next 10 minutes. So I'm going to get straight into it. But if you're new to the channel, this is my 10-minute roundup, where I round up all the latest United news into a 10-minute video. I try and do a live stream pretty much every day, but there will be a 10-minute video every day as well, rounding up the news for you guys. So interestingly, reports have come out that Arsenal and Atletico Madrid have inquired about Antony. Now, what do we know on Antony? First of all, Real Betis really want Antony. They really want to keep him next season. They've already tried to see if they can get him on loan for another year, but Man United have made it clear they want a permanent deal. Now, Manchester United will want at least £30 million because Antony still has money left on his book value and they don't want to make a loss, but because of his higher wages, it's harder to sell him. Because Real Betis aren't the richest club, it will be difficult, but United are pushing for around 30 million from Real Betis, who desperately want Antony and will do what they can to bring in Antony. It might depend on how they do in Europe, where they finish, what competition they play in next season. The good thing for United is the more competition there is for Antony and the more clubs that are interested in Antony, the more it's going to push Betis to bid up. There is interest in Antony. He's doing very well. He scored a very good goal. I think he's made for La Liga because of the technical levels there are very good, and I think he's always been technically good, but it's like physically. But apparently Arsenal are interested. Now, I've got two thoughts about this. First of all, Havertz, Arsenal bring in players that haven't been good at other clubs and they've done well, but then look at Sterling, he's not done so well. There's two ways you can look at it. I also think, are Manchester United going to put out information that this and this and this club is interested in Antony, but maybe they're not interested in Antony, but there's a bit of a negotiation game to try and get Betis to just make a bid. Betis want Antony. United know that. Betis are playing around. Can they get him on loan for another year? Betis will think, if no one's interested in Antony and Antony wants to come to us, maybe we can get him on loan for another year. La-di-da, la-di-da, la-di-da. But if Manchester United starts saying, well, look, Madrid are interested, Arsenal interested, and they've got more money than you, they will pay up. It could scare Betis into paying up because they might not be able to compete with Atletico Madrid. They might not be able to compete with Arsenal. So I'd be surprised if Arsenal move for Antony. You never know. It's very Arsenal. They do want a winger. Probably would do better at Arsenal than Manchester United. But I think I wouldn't be shocked if United had put out that Arsenal are interested in Antony as a bit of a scaremongering tactic for Real Betis, because they know Real Betis wants him. Real Betis are mucking about. Let's go into the next news. So this is coming from Reluctant Nico, and this is coming just now. I was about to click record and then this story broke. He said basically, former Chelsea Academy chief expected to join Manchester United. Jim Ratcliffe views him as a key figure in recruitment plans. Fraser has a strong reputation for discovering elite youth talent, and Appointment supports Ineos strategy to sign top emerging talents. So basically, Jim Fraser is very, very highly rated, and he is the former Chelsea Academy chief. We know about Chelsea Academy, how good it is. And Ratcliffe wants to appoint him to improve our youth plans. He has a very strong reputation for discovering elite talent. United are looking to bring in elite talent, Mas Tantuno, but also players that are less known into the academy, like with the Seko Kones, the Chido Obis, the Diego Leons, and he could be part of that project to sign top emerging players. The question is, what role? We've got Nick Cox, we've got Adam Lawrence, they're doing an incredible job. I wouldn't want to get rid of them. I'm a big fan for Ineos resetting every aspect of the club, but I think the academy works right now, and I wouldn't reset that. It depends what role. Now, I'm going to tell you a little bit more on Jim Fraser here. So I did some internet searching on the guy. He joined Chelsea reportedly in 2005, becoming the head of youth development and recruitment. He oversaw domestic and international youth scouting, including registrations and talent youth strategy. He played a key role further down the line in developing top academy graduates like Mason Mount, Reece James, Conor Gallagher, but there's also other players that have graduated the Chelsea Academy, like Mark Gay. A lot of them aren't always at Chelsea. Chelsea have had so many academy stars, and some of their best talents left the academy younger on, like a Musiala, a Declan Rice, before they were even in the latter stages. He played a key role in developing a lot of academy players at Chelsea, scouting some of the younger players to come in, some of the best players in football. Even Elise was in the Chelsea academy at one point. And he built Chelsea's academy into one of the most productive in Europe. You know, Cobham is one of the best academies in the whole world. Like, obviously, Barcelona is number one. Man United, you can argue, is number two for the amount of players that get minutes for Man United, but Chelsea's up there, Man City's up there, very good. And to have him with Vivel and Wilcox and what we've already got at United would be a great addition. He's very highly respected when it comes to talent ID and, you know, long-term development planning and all of that as well. He was even promoted into a senior role just 3 years ago at Chelsea in December 2022. Due to just the good work he'd done, and he had a very big influence at Chelsea, the long-term development planning, talent identification for the academies reportedly. Now, he did leave Chelsea in 2024, and a lot of Chelsea fans were shocked by this. They were kind of unsure to why. Very highly rated at Chelsea. He also left alongside Neil Bath. Now, he's now expected to join Manchester United, bringing his expertise in youth recruitment. Him and Vivel involved in youth recruitment. We know that Ineos, rather than having high-wage players on 300k a week being backup for each position, would rather have the top youth stars pushing the players in the academy so we can rely on youth as backup. We've looked at Diego Lon, Sekou Kone, Enzo Canabia is essentially done. We're waiting on a here we go. It'll be really interesting to see, but this could be a huge appointment. You've got Jason Wilcox and Port in the Man City Academy. The Man United Academy is great as it is, and then you've got a guy coming in at Chelsea, particularly when it comes to development and recruitment on top of Vivel. And United are really taking this youth project serious. Maybe they're going to look at loaning out some to Lausanne as well. It will be interesting to see. Let's continue on. So, Manchester United are in ongoing talks with Jonathan Tah's agent, Pini Savvy, to try and sign the defender. So this is news coming out on Tah, that we've held talks with his agent, we want to sign him. What I know on Manchester United is they are going to be looking in the free agent market, although we're not looking at Jonathan David apparently, which is surprising. Surely we have to be looking at Jonathan David. And we want to send it back. Manchester United's number one priority is Cunha and Delap. We know that. Striker 10. They'd also like a central midfielder. They'd also like a centre-back. They are the four priorities this summer. Manchester United obviously want a centre-back, but they don't want to spend loads of money on the centre-back, and they'll look at Tah available on a free. Now, Bayern Munich tried to sign him last year when they lost the Ligt, so I assume Bayern are favourites to get him, but you never know. Maybe out of loyalty he leaves. He leaves and goes abroad. Who knows? But United have interest in Jonathan Tah. He would definitely improve our build-up issues, and I would be a big fan of us getting him. I'm just not sure if we're going to get him unless we give him ridiculous wages, because Real Madrid are interested. Like, the clubs that are interested in him are better than us. And on where's my notes? On Tah, these are other stories on Tah. I got lost in my notes here. This was said by Florian Plettenberg that United have entered the race to sign him on a free. We've held talks with him. Barcelona, Bayern, and Real Madrid also interested. I don't see us beating those clubs, but we want to secure the deal. So we're definitely interested in Tah, but I don't know if we're going to beat out the other clubs to him unless we offer a higher wage. Continuing on into the other stories, Ruben Amorim is a big fan of Onana and really likes him despite his lack of consistency. It was said by the United District, who are pretty credible. And to be fair, reliable sources these last few months that I can remember off my top of my head, they pretty much said that goalkeeper's not a priority this summer, but also said let's see what happens with Onana and Saudi, as this could change that. I've always got the sort of idea from what more credible journalists have said is that United could be open to selling Onana, but it's not the priority. Like, the priority are the two attackers, 10 and striker, central midfielder, centre-back. Let's see what happens with Onana. Let's see what happens with other positions. Apparently, Ruben Amorim only dropped Onana because of what had gone off the pitch with his wife being robbed, rather than poor performances. He just thought, you know what, get Onana a good mental state. And since Onana's been dropped, he hasn't really put a foot wrong. But with Onana, he has a mistake in him. But reliable sources have said, would be open to a goalkeeper, maybe. Depends what happens with Onana. Bain Dia as well could be a second goalkeeper. But we haven't heard from Romano or David Ornstein be like, United want to replace Onana. We've not heard that. We've heard that from tier 2 sources, but they like to sort of jump on Onana's had a bad game and made a mistake, so let's write a report that we're going to sell Onana. But I do think there's an element of truth to this. I think United wouldn't turn down a 30 million offer from Saudi for Onana, but I don't think United are going to go out of their way to sign a keeper. I think they're going to focus elsewhere. Last but not least, let's get into news ahead of the United-Brentford game. It was said by Sam C that Obi's in the travelling squad, and Samuel Larko said that every starter in the Bilbao game was in the travelling squad, bar Mazraoui. De Ligt and Ahmad are both in the squad. Now, interestingly, I remember Samuel Larko said a couple of days earlier that Manchester United may look to give De Ligt and Ahmad minutes versus Brentford to build up fitness, and that Amorim could make some big changes to the squad versus Brentford to, give his players time to rest and all of that as well. Now, interestingly, in the Manchester United squad ahead of the Brentford game, we've got Onana, Heaton, Baindir, Maguire, De Ligt, Yoro, Lindelof, Fredriksson, Shaw, Amas, Dorgu, Casemiro, Ugarte, Eriksen, Mena, Fernandes, Mount, Garnacho, Ahmad, Hoyle, and Chido. Now, I think the fact that Mazraoui isn't in there says to me Amas starts, or at least gets minutes. You could start Shaw left wing back, Dorgu right wing back, but considering Shaw still has limited fitness, I'd be quite surprised. So I think we could see Dorgu right wing back, Amas left wing back. Shaw maybe comes on for minutes at centre back or left wing back later on. I think you've got to be careful. I don't know if De Ligt will start, but if he does start, I think he'd come off at half time. I think, Yoro will probably play. I think Fredriksson could play. I think Casemiro, Ugarte, Eriksen, Mena, Fernandes, Mount. I'd like to see Meno start. I honestly, Ugarte first 20 minutes was shocking, but he actually had quite a good game if you take the first 20 minutes away versus Bilbao, particularly in the final third with the 2 assists. But I mean, Meno should have come on before Mount in that Bilbao game. He would have suited that Bilbao game. So I'd like to see Meno start. I do think that Meno's better in the 10, but I do think he'd solve a lot of our build-up issues. So it'll be interesting to see who starts, and then Garnacho, Ahmad, Hoyle, and Shido. Now, in my opinion, and I wrote this here, not here. Oh, here I said, considering Obi isn't registered for the Europa League and Hoyland's our only striker option registered for the Europa League, I feel like you don't want to give Hoyland 90 minutes or even 60 minutes. Him get injured, take that risk. Maybe you start Obi. I think this is the kind of game to start Obi in, because I don't want to risk injuring Hoyland. He actually was quite good versus Bilbao, but then Amorim might see momentum as important for Hoyland. Amorim might think, Hoyland needs momentum, he needs a goal. But I'd like to see Obi start. Now, in my opinion, I think we could see Obi start. I think we could see Meno start. I think we might see maybe a Garnacho rested because he's been ran around a lot lately, but then we've got a lack of pace. De Ligt and Ahmad could play 45 minutes. I don't think they play anymore. I think we could see Ahmad start and we could see Fredriksson start, being honest. But I have no idea what Amorim's going to do with the lineup. Is he going to rotate Bruno? Is he going to start Bruno? Is he going to rest Casemiro? Who knows? But I think we will see 5 or 6 players rotated in. Thank you for watching. Let me know your thoughts down below. Bye.